What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hops Geek News, your home for comic book, movie, TV shows, and of course, a beer of the week. I am Matt. As always, with me is the amazing Lauren, who is the brains of this operation. And today we have a really great episode. We are going to do some catch up. We didn't have an episode last week because I've been busy at Comic Cons. Lauren's been sick and she's gone to Puerto Rico. So we're going to play a little catch up. We're going to talk about Galaxy Con Richmond, a little bit of Awesome Con, and then we're going to talk X-Men 97, the first 2 episodes of this amazing, incredible series is out. And so you can always find us at Hops Geek News on any podcasting platform, any social media platform. By all means, follow us there, like, subscribe, share with whomever it is. Play it for your dog while you are at work, for goodness sakes. And then if you feel so inclined, please head to patreon.com/hopsgeeknews. That's where you can support the show. We do things such as Cantina Hour, where we come on, bring a guest most often, and we just vibe for 30 to 45, maybe even an hour long, and just have a really, really good time. It's not going to be an every week thing. We are in the works of setting up a really cool Patreon exclusive kind of content called Sauced Ones, which it's basically like how many beers is going to take to watch a bad movie before it's good kind of thing. Who knows? More to come there, but be on the lookout for that. That's going to be starting pretty soon. And thank you guys for hanging out with us. Lauren, why don't you tell the fine folks who are listening what our beer of this week is?
Beer this week, I can already tell, is going to get yummier and yummier while we're recording this. So you sent me this. It's from Burial, which is, I would say, one of our favorite breweries. It's called Griddle. It is an Imperial Espresso Stout. So behold the vibrant glare of life's everlasting penchant for satisfaction, zenith. We kneel before the temple of your desires and proudly offer you this gallant chalice. This cold black steel melds rich caramel and honey flavors with lactose sugars and just enough charred black malt to forge divining stout balance. There's more. I'm not going to read all of it, but I get that because it's sweet, but it's still very, very malty as well. So I think as this warms, that sweet and malty is going to start to balance out. So I almost feel like we should do a review before we get into X-Men 97 again, to just an update as to how this.
Good idea. It's a good idea.
This is fantastic so far.
This is a very, very good beer. It's brewed and canned by Burial Brewing Company in Asheville, North Carolina. However, they also have a couple other tap rooms, one of which being in Raleigh, North Carolina, really close to where my in-laws live. So I'd like to go out there. And I know it's one of our favorite breweries, even Josh, so I'd like to pick up at least a 4-pack. I do like to pick up a 4-pack every time I go down there and get you some of these beers. And this is one of the ones I sent last time. And the art is by David Paul Seymour. So check him out. But yeah, it's a good. I love coffee notes in my beer. It's one of my favorite things on earth. So I'm pretty excited for how this one warms up. Now, we don't have anything that we've messed up on. Typically, our shows go what we've messed up on after plugging the beer of the week. We talk about what we've been reading or watching. We do some news in the main topic. So we recently go check out some cool things that we recently did on our YouTube page, our Cantina Hour with Tommy Stella. You can find that on YouTube, where he has a Kickstarter campaign going for his book called Mustn't Tell. It's a very, very adult, all ages, I should say, horror-themed comic book. Check that one out. And our panels that we're going to dive into here soon. So before we get to the good stuff, let's chat about what we've been reading or watching. Lauren, why don't you start us off?
So I read or watched a lot. For one, we haven't recorded in a while, but also, like Matt said, I got deathly ill last week. So I watched a lot. As far as the comic books I have reviewed, one of them was Black Widow and Hawkeye. So it is the 60th anniversary of Black Widow and Hawkeye. And so this team up is really kind of cool because Hawkeye is being accused of something. And of course, Black Widow's not believing that because they're BFF and she's going to go rescue him. And every time it's on Hawkeye is really kind of hilarious. He's really funny, but there's still a lot of good action scenes going on. And of course, there's a surprise at the end that, you have to wait till next week. Wolverine, that series is dropping every other week now. If not, I think that they're just,
I feel like every week there's a Wolverine series out.
So with the Sabretooth War going on, they're dropping issues every 1 to 2 weeks. So that's going full force with the Sabretooth War. Wolverine is on issue 40 something. If you don't want to read all of it, you don't need to. You can jump in right now or just jump in at the beginning of the Sabretooth War. Part 5 just dropped for the Sabretooth War. So that's been fun. Another issue of Thrawn came out. They're still on the second book of the Timothy Zahn novels. I highly recommend reading the novels and the comics. The novels are fantastic, but if you're just I don't have time to sit there and read 3 novels, definitely check out these comic books. Timothy Zahn is part of doing the comic books, and he's just putting these novels into comic book form. And it's just they're still going back and forth from Anakin Skywalker and Thrawn to Darth Vader and Grand Admiral Thrawn in the present day versus the past. And I'm loving their relationship more than the story. Sure, the stories are interesting, but the real story is watching these two superbly intelligent creatures in different ways who both work for the Empire, but for very different reasons. Watching them just build this mutual trust between each other is really cool. And it brings out sides of both of them that people don't immediately see when they think of Vader and Thrawn. So, yeah, Thrawn's amazing. Mean Girls the musical, I did watch that.
Okay,
And
we both watched this one. What are your thoughts on Mean Girls the musical? Because I do have some thoughts.
it was cute, but it's no Mean Girls.
Yeah, I thought the same. I thought that I was open to the idea of them making it a musical, but I wish that they had almost just made it like a sequel in a way. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Right. It was a remake. The one thing I will say is when I first heard, okay, this is a remake, that to me didn't make sense. The movie doesn't feel that old. Okay, it's 20 years old. So one of the things they did a good job with was incorporating social media into this world, because in 2004, social media was just starting with like MySpace, if it even was yet. So I
Yeah.
mean, we were
Oh, yeah.
texting, but it was T9 texting still for the most part, unless you happen to have a
It really was. God, I
Pick
hated
thingy or a
T9.
BlackBerry. We all hated T9, and you had to pay for your text messages, so that they were doing
Yeah, it was
calls.
like
You're like,
50 cents a text.
I mean, like surviving a three-way call. That was a real thing when I was in high school, surviving a
Yeah.
three-way call. So I did like the nods to the past, and I thought they did a good job, quote unquote, modernizing a movie that still feels really modern.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Number one, I have a big complaint is that the poor actress who had to fill the shoes of Gretchen Wieners was no Lacey Chabert, however you pronounce her goddamn last name from,
I
who
mean,
was
none of them were
obviously
as
the
good as
original.
their originals. Yeah.
Renee Rapp did pretty good, I thought, and the girl who played Katie, thought she
Oh,
did
she
pretty
did good.
decent.
Yeah, she's
Uh,
cute, and she's from Spider-Man.
yes, yes, she is. But my dude was no Aaron Samuels. Aaron Samuels, they got this guy off of Wish. Like if somebody like listened to the Super Bowl Timu ads, and this is the Aaron Samuels that we got, because we're going
Poor
feral for
kid.
this guy right now.
I don't think anybody, I feel bad for the actor, honestly. He's just a young kid, and people are like, even Brielle looked at me and she goes, "Is he supposed to be cute?" I'm like, "Oh God."
Yeah, see, like that's what I'm saying. Like he was just like, y'all are simping over this guy. No, I'm sorry. I'm not buying it. Like I am not buying it.
Anybody, so the real Aaron Samuels, whose name I don't know, he is highly entertaining on the TikTok. I definitely recommend following him. He's quite hilarious.
Yeah. But I do think overall it was good. I liked the musical numbers. I liked, all you sucker MCs got nothing on me. That was still in it. I thought they were going to take that away, so I'm glad that was in it.
Well, and my daughter, I don't know if this is true. One of my kids told me that Regina was the actual Regina for the actual musical.
Oh, really?
So that's just kind of cool because she definitely doesn't look like she's in high school.
No,
But I
Renee
mean,
Rapp,
Rachel
she's a big like,
McAdams was like 27 or
yeah, I
something.
mean, weren't they all pretty old at that point? Well, no, I guess Lindsay Lohan's about my age, so
Damien is, so he actually went to my high school. I did not know him, but he was graduated by the time I got to high school, and he was playing a high schooler in 2004. So when I was, how old was I in 2004? I was 21 when this movie came out, and he was at least 5 years older than me, and he was playing a high schooler.
yeah.
It's a lot of
And
math.
then I will say that my dude who played Aaron Samuels back in the day, he is now very much part of. He does like all the Food Network, like those kind of holiday baking shows and things like that. And so I'd like watching him. He hasn't aged today.
No, he's still very cute. And I saw his husband posted like a TikTok, and it was like, people think it's all fun and games being married to the guy from Mean Girls, but this is what it's really like. And they're on vacation, and all these girls want to take pictures with him because he's Aaron Samuels.
But yeah, no, I did like it. It wasn't, of course, it's never, nothing's ever going to live up to the original, right? That's just where we're at with our life now. And but
At least they,
for some
yeah.
people, yeah, some people, this is probably like their version of Mean Girls that they're always going to know and love, and
I don't
that's
know
okay too.
though. I don't know. I
I
think
don't
this
know.
will always be Mean Girls the musical. I don't think it will. Oh, I did think it was interesting they made Tina Fey and Tim Meadows married in this one,
Yes,
rather than
yes.
her being like newly divorced. I was like, huh, that was an
I think
interesting twist.
that's why it was so weird to me that it was just a rehash, because having them in this, right? Obviously Tina Fey kind of wrote it originally, but I guess that
And they
was
had
why, because they were
Pam.
playing their characters still. So
Yeah, because they were the only ones though, I think. I don't know. But the original Mean Girls will always be the original Mean Girls, and you won't be able to beat that. I think that will be one that will just, it's like Clueless. It doesn't need to be redone to still be fantastic. But this was a unique spin on a musical. How come we haven't gotten Clueless musical?
Oh,
I don't know
that's
if I want
true.
that, but now I think I do. Okay.
What if a Clueless reboot? Would you take a Clueless reboot?
I'll take anything Clueless, honestly. I love that movie.
Honestly,
That
I
movie
would
came out when
love
I was like 13. So like, yeah, I fucking loved that thing. I had it on VHS.
I would love a Clueless reboot. I wonder who they would cast to play all the characters, but Paul Rudd could play himself because he hasn't aged a fucking day.
He's dating a high schooler.
All right, on second thought, well, that fits with the Hollywood.
And
Never mind.
she's like 16 and he's supposed to be like 18. Yeah, let's have Paul Rudd, who's 50 something, come date a 16-year-old.
Open up. Chris Hansen would like to have a word with you, Paul. Just saying.
Right.
But anyways, what else have you dived into lately?
So Invincible, I have caught up on Invincible. I've been watching the most recent one. So they took, this is, if you've been following us for a while, this is my all-time favorite comic book. I loved Invincible, the comic,
Yeah.
from beginning to end. It is 3 phone book sizes long. They did such a brilliant job with constantly surprising you, not falling into the negative tropes, not doing the bullshit. Here's a quick spoiler, which I'm sure if you're out following up with the show, you probably already see this coming. Mark and Adam Eve are a couple in the book, and they have certain things arise. There's a big thing that arises at some point in the comic, which I'm hoping they do in the show, where they handled it so gracefully and maturely. And like, there's none of this petty, you should have told me, or I'm sorry I didn't tell you, or da 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 da. They don't waste time with that nonsense. It's just so like emotionally mature. And I think they're doing a great job with that in the show as well. However, in this most recent episode, they killed some people I didn't think that they were going to kill, because they're very much not killed at that point in the comic. And that one of those things creates something else that happens in the future in the comic. So it's kind of interesting to see, okay, where are they going to go from here? Because, in The
Right.
Walking Dead, they switched a lot of storylines where it's like, oh, okay, instead of having Carl live happily ever after, we're going to have somebody else live happily. We'll have Judith live happily ever after, whereas Judith dies in the comics. So they switched a lot of things like that. So it'll be interesting seeing it go forward. It's also funny, anytime you pause Invincible, it's just the cast of The Walking Dead with the voices on the bottom.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the Immortals Aaron, and then obviously Invincible's Glenn, and then one of the superheroes is Carrie Payton, who is Ezekiel. So, in the very first episode, even Bella, Martha, Wayne.
Oh yeah, I forget her real name. Yes,
Maggie.
Maggie.
Her real name's Lauren Cohen.
Yes,
I couldn't remember Maggie. So Maggie is the Wonder Woman ripoff. So they're all Walking Dead characters because they're Robert Kirkman. I did introduce the kid to Princess Bride, the 11-year-old, so that was exciting. I loved when it said.
How did she feel about that?
She liked it. We got to the part
Really?
where you keep saying that word, but I don't think you know what it means. Or I don't think it means what you think it means. And she looks at me and she goes, "You say that." And then I got to the, you killed my father. And she looked at me again. So that was fun.
That's right. Yes. Because you do always say that.
And have you watched or read American Gods?
I briefly read it in like high school. I know what it's about, but I haven't ever really read the full thing. No, but it's a TV show though.
Yeah. So I am about 400 pages into the 600-page book. And when I was sick, I had a headache and didn't want to read anymore. So I watched the first season, but I don't know anybody else who has seen it. Why are you laughing?
I don't know. I don't know why that was so funny to me.
What part was funny?
I don't know. There was nothing even funny.
Is maybe the book coming back to you? Is there a funny part?
There's really not. It's a very serious book.
All right. Well, if anybody has read or watched this, I'd love to hear your opinion. Apparently, you can't stream seasons 2 and 3. You have to buy them. So I only watched season 1.
There's 3 seasons and you have to buy them?
So season 1, I did a free trial on Stars so I could watch it. And I figured, season 1's not going to ruin anything in the book, even though I haven't finished the book. And then 2 and 3, they're like, okay, you can buy it now. I don't know. It's not that old. Otherwise, I'm going to see if the library
the book like
has
this
it,
thick?
maybe. It's almost 600 pages. But I really liked Good Omens.
That's less than Harry Potter.
Well, yeah. And if you divvied it up into multiple books, it would be less. I guess you could do that with any book.
That's true. That's fair. Anyways.
That's all of the shit I have been reading or watching.
You have been up to a lot.
Again, I was sick. I watched a lot of TV.
I'll be honest. I've read a lot too. So I was preparing for the Kyle Higgins panel. And so I was reading No One, which is a comic book that takes place in Pittsburgh. It's basically like a vigilante justice murder mystery comic book that has a podcast associated with it. But Patton Oswalt is one of
Cool.
the voices,
Ken
and
was
it's written
talking about
by,
this a while ago, right?
yes,
This one
Kyle
he swears by,
Higgins.
yeah.
It's dude, it's so good, so good. You don't know who the killer is. It's going to be 10 issues. There's 8 issues out now. And aside from that, it's really good. After every issue, there's like a QR code in them you can scan. And after that, Deep Cuts is another one that I was reading. It's an anthology jazz comic book series, again, written by Kyle Higgins. It kind of takes place through various decades of jazz, which Kyle is a very, very big music lover, jazz fan. So check that one out. Outsiders, I've read, which is by The Hive Mind. It's DC Comics. Very, very another kind of trippy walk
Ooh, I need to catch up on
through.
that.
Yeah, it's very good. I've read Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, and then Kill Your Darlings #7 is another one I've read, which that issue is the penultimate. It's about ready to wrap up, and #8 is the final issue for that one. And Rose and everything, you kind of get answers as to this imaginative storyland and who this witch is. Very, very good. Cannot recommend that book enough. It's been one of my favorites that I've been reading every month. Star Wars Visions #1 I read. That's following along with the TV show as well. I never really fully got into the show as much. The comic book is very manga-ish, and I actually enjoyed the artwork within the comic book. So maybe it's one of those that translates better. And then we talked about Mean Girls. I did see Dune when it first came out. I thought that was an absolutely incredible comic
Oh,
book
yeah. Can
and
you
or comic
comic
book
book or
movie.
movie?
Movie. It was a
Okay,
movie.
so I
Jeez.
I did just order the 3 books. I need to finish American Gods before I start the books, but I'm gonna read the book. So it's 1 book and then the movie, correct?
Yes. So
Okay.
I think so. I've never read the books. I'm gonna be honest with you. The books were just too.
I heard they were good, and I know Stacy's reading them or got ordered them. She's the one that inspired me to do it. It was 15 bucks for the 3 books
Yes.
on Target. I'm like, "Whatever, I'll just order them and see what happens." So can you talk about it without spoiling the movie?
Well, yeah. No, I can't. I can't. We won't spoil it. I will say though, it's the best movie I have watched this year. I will also say that Timothée Chalamet is very freaking good in this movie. This is his. I can't spoil it. So no, I can't. Okay, I can't. If you want to go see it, go to. I did an episode on it with Charlie for a podcast I do on the side with him called Real Buffs. So if you want to get spoiled and hear my thoughts, go to that one. Anyways, aside from that, X-Men 97, which we're going to talk about here soon. And man, yeah, just been doing a lot of stuff. I've been playing a lot of video games, so a lot of Helldivers. Love that game. Been playing with Chris from the Geek Peak. I'm going to be hopping on there with him this weekend. And that's kind of where I'm at now. So let's go into some news. What is some news that you got?
House of the Dragon season 2 is coming in June. Doctor Who, we knew it was May, but it's going to be on Disney Plus on May 10th. And actually, by the time this episode comes out, there should be a trailer for the new season. Beginning April 5th, if you watched our live Cantina Hour with Tommy Sella, you heard us talking about this a little bit. Beginning April 5th, you will be able to see new Star Wars characters on Star Tours at the Disney parks. So you'll have Ahsoka, Andor, Din Djarin, and Grogu will be appearing. Stephen Yen, who voices Mark Grayson, we were just talking about Invincible, he has said that season 3 is in the works. I have also heard, I don't know how true this is, I really hope it is, that there might be a live action version coming, which
Really?
I don't know that that's true. I saw that on like one website and I was like, I'm going to take this with a grain of salt. But
Well,
when
no, I
I
have
first,
seen that picked up by a few places. I think that there was some truth to that at one point. At one point, there was.
okay, well, I would love for that because I was disappointed when I found out Invincible was going to be a cartoon because the artwork's identical to the comic in the show. So it's like sometimes I forget which happened. I have to like remind myself like which one did this happen in because the art's the same. But dude, to see Omni-Man in like real life, like bashing in some people, it would be like The Boys.
Dude,
It
real
it would be so good.
speaking of Omni-Man, I saw the best cosplay ever at Galaxy Con Richmond, and it was this dude. He was like 6'8". No fucking joke. This guy was 6'8", dressed like Omni-Man. His muscles, though, were real. And I swear to God, his muscles were bigger than my head. This guy was an absolute unit. It was so intimidating. I was like, oh yeah, no, if this guy was like the real Omni-Man, I would get this, but this would make sense. He would
Right.
just crush me. It was amazing. I know he'll never hear this and I never talked to him, but just know that this guy was, I think there's a picture somewhere, the best Omni-Man cosplay because the guy was all natural, 6'7", built like a brick house. It was amazing.
I love when the cosplay is like so realistic like that. Like you don't have to look like the actors. But obviously this is a cartoon, but I love that because yeah, it adds a for one, it shows that truly anybody is cosplaying these days. Like people hear cosplayer and they have a certain idea in their head. And like it really can be anybody, but to hear that like a cartoon come to life, that's really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Peacemaker season 2 filming will begin this summer. It will be canon to the DCU that James Gunn's creating. However, only parts of season 1 will be. So I guess we have to forget season 1 other than when watching season 2, but then forget season
Yeah.
1.
I did see that. It's like, all right, so season 1 never happened. So why don't we just like reboot it and say Peacemaker season 1.5? I don't know.
But I think because season 2 is going to rely on the story from season 1, I
Okay.
guess.
You know what? I don't care.
Oh, I
I don't
watched
even care.
Aquaman too. I forgot to talk about that.
What was that like for you? Because you said that was like a fever dream.
So I watched Aquaman 2 the day I felt like complete and utter shit. And that was bizarre, man. That was so awkward. It was like every scene with Amber Heard, it was like DC wanted us to know that they didn't want her there because it felt like she wasn't supposed to be there.
It's like she was filming and not even on the same set. She was like green screened with
Right.
various random actors because everybody's back was always turned to her.
Even the moment when they like at the beginning is like, and then I fell in love, and they show a quick scene from like the first movie, but then it was like they didn't even want to portray her in any positive light. They were just like, and
No,
that's all
at
you
all.
get.
She's
There's
like the
no like
shitty
I
mother.
oh my god. It was but even like I love Jason Momoa. You know, I love him as a Dothraki, and I thought he was fine in the first Aquaman and Justice League. I thought he was great at the end of Peacemaker. But he was almost awkward in this too. I don't know what it was. I feel like he was trying to be Deadpool, but he's not Deadpool. He's not Ryan Reynolds. And then like the thing I enjoyed the most was Orm. Orm was the only
He's the only
person
person. Yeah.
that was like genuinely acting because Willem Dafoe's not in this, but he was the only thing I like. But then there was so many scenes too that were so cliche, like the scene where it's like, "Oh, is Orm gonna rescue that guy?" Of course not. Of course he is. You knew that was gonna happen before anything happened. They did the same shit in Bad Batch with Crosshair. I hate when they do that. When they have two guys butting heads. Well, I know we're on the same team now, but we weren't on the same team last time, and I don't really trust you. And then of course one of them is in a life-altering situation or a life like could die and fall off this cliff and I'm going to rescue you and now we're BFF. I hate that trope. I understand sometimes it's necessary, but I hate it.
Preach it. Preach it. Preach it to the Lord. Will you? That's
So,
right. I'd follow you. No, but you're right. 100%. Like it was the most predictable plot line. And I think this movie, because the rumors about this movie were that, Aquaman's kid was going to get captured by Black Manta and die. The biggest,
oh my god, that baby was the cutest fucking baby though. Oh my god,
well,
that baby was cute.
the problem is like you have Black Manta and he's like this awesome villain, but then they nerfed him so bad and made him not even a part of the plot. And he was like this really stupid, awful villain that just had no impact on anything that's going on. And then he just gets taken out in like 2 seconds. And it was just,
Hey,
it
Jimmy Woo
was,
helped. I
yeah,
did enjoy it. Jimmy Woo was probably the one of the best parts of the movie. I
yeah,
don't know
that's
what
not
his name
even
was in
saying a
this.
lot. He was a
That's not even
scientist
his
who
real
like,
name.
well, I think what's crazy is about Black Manta, they made him like a Dr. Evil type character.
Oh
It
my god,
honestly with like,
yeah.
well, if you think about all the people on his submarine in their suits, it felt very much like I want Aquaman's baby. And it was just very much this is the most goofiest shit on earth for no reason. And then he has a change of heart. And yeah, it was
And I wanted to like it. I love the ocean. That's why I
I
love
really
Namor
did
so
too.
much. Because Namor is a character that is to be respected. He's not a goofball. And as much as I love my goofball superheroes, you can't be a
And
goofball and be king of Atlantis because they're just going to make fun of you because you talk to fish.
the first Aquaman made $1 billion. So like the first movie was legitimately good. And then we come out with this and it's just like, let's just get this out and over with. It was the
I
vibe all the way.
I think I blame Amber Heard. I did appreciate the Guinness. There's a lot of Guinness in this.
Yes, yes, he does like his Guinness.
So does his
But
dad.
anyways, any more news?
Right. Yes. So Spielberg has confirmed this was confirmed a while ago, but we haven't really heard anything about it. Ready Player 2 is in the works. However, he's not directing it, but he will be producing it. I'm hoping that they fix what they fucked up in the first movie. Venom 3 will be titled Venom: The Last Dance. That will come out October 25th of this year. The pictures that have been circulating you can actually see Eddie wearing the shirt that he wore in Spider-Man No Way Home. So that'd
It's
be cool.
Eddie,
Kind of
and he's just sitting there talking about how he took everything Spider-Man did personally.
And then my last piece of news is the movie Wish that Disney has been pushing harder than any movie they've ever pushed just yet. I don't know anyone who has seen it yet. Will be on Disney Plus April
My
3rd.
kids saw it and they liked it, but
Yeah,
wasn't this supposed to come out February 27th, I thought?
that's what I thought. When I saw that this was coming out
Thank
April
you,
3rd,
thank
I've
you.
literally asked the kids if they have wanted to watch this on Disney Plus because I thought it was on Disney Plus for like the last 2 months, and they're like, "No, nobody wants to watch it."
Well, no, I
So,
swear to God, like, there was a point where we announced this was releasing on February
yeah.
27th, and then, like, for weeks on end, I was telling my daughter, I was like, "Dude, it's go watch Wish, it's on Disney," and she's like, "It's only the trailer." I'm like, "No, you dummy, like, it's out," and then it
I
was
don't know
never
what
out, and I was
happened.
like, "I promise you we live in I don't know."
We're not CNN, folks. We try our best, and sometimes our best is not the best. That's all the news I got. I got a little bit of beer news. There's a series coming out about Guinness, which is in the works, and it will follow the Guinness family and the consequences of the death of Benjamin Guinness. And apparently, I never saw Peaky Blinders, but I guess it's going to be
Me
from those
neither.
people. So I will be
Oh,
watching this series. Very excited about
Peaky
that. I love
fucking
Guinness.
Blinders.
I love beer history, and I think that Matt needs to start drinking Guinness.
Anyways, speaking of real news, Ben Affleck, John Bernthal, J.K. Simmons, and Cynthia Adai Robinson will all return for The Accountant 2. Now, I've never watched The Accountant 1, but I'm sure somebody
I
did.
don't know that I've heard of it, but I know all
I've
those
heard of
people.
it. I do know all those people. I do. I just have never
I thought
watched
you were
the
gonna
first
talk
movie.
about something superhero. I'm like, "Ooh, this sounds like a fun superhero movie." Oh, no, I don't know who Cynthia is.
Well, I'm going to talk something superhero right now, and it's that Lego is releasing a Batman animated series set that will cost $299, and my anniversary is also in April. So if I don't get this for my anniversary, I'm going to get divorced. Just kidding.
No,
But
you can't say the D word.
I'm not. I'm just kidding, guys. It comes out April 4th. It looks awesome because what's awesome about it is it will hang on the wall. It's wall art.
Oh, it's that thing. That looks really cool. I
Yeah,
really
doesn't
like
it?
that. As somebody who's not I mean, obviously, I love the minifigs, but I'm not a Lego person. I saw that, I was like, "That's really cool."
Yes,
I
it does
support
look
this
really
for you.
cool. Speaking of another Batman star, Arnold Schwarzenegger will star as Santa alongside Alan Ritchson in The Man with the Bag. Santa's magic bag is stolen, so he makes his
Santa's got
naughty
a brain
list and
bag.
resource in finding someone to help with a heist to get his bag back. Alan is from Reacher, and there has been fan casts for him to play
Oh,
Batman. So
he's Aquaman, right?
he no. Oh yes, he is.
And
Is he?
Smallville.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
it's the
yes,
guy
yes,
from
yes.
Titans. Yeah, yeah. He's thank God his acting improved because he is the worst fucking actor ever in Smallville.
Oh yeah.
His
I mean,
acting was
nobody's
good
acting
in
was good.
Titans.
Yes,
No,
it
there was
was.
people that could act, and I mean, Michael Rosenbaum acts just fine, and
That's true.
yeah, a
Haha,
lot of
he
people
acts
can
just
act
fine.
just fine.
Haha.
But no, he was like, whew, and that Aquaman, it was legit like, oh, and he went to University of Miami though. That was kind of cool. Or he had something
Oof,
to do with
yes.
UM.
Well,
But and his
I
costume is
guess
orange and green because it's all about the U.
he turned over his acting
Ew.
turnover chain. Anyway, Scream 7 will be back featuring Nev Campbell. Apparently, they settled whatever money dispute after they lost
And
Melissa
Stu,
and
right?
Jenna.
And Matthew
No,
Lillard.
no,
No.
that's not true. That's not true. You're making rumors. Batman 2 release date has been pushed to 2026 because we cannot have nice things. Boondock Saints 3 was announced with both original cast Patrick Flaherty and what the hell is Daryl's name? I forget all of a sudden.
Norman Reedus.
Norman Reedus will return in this movie that nobody has asked for. The Bear 3 and season 4 will film back to back with season 3 dropping this June, actually. Or is it? Yeah, season 3 drops this
Be a
June.
hell of a fucking tune, man.
It will be. The Acolyte will premiere on Disney Plus June 4th with a 2-episode premiere. I'm very excited for that one. Listen to us kind of talk about with Tommy on our live Cantina hour. There is a Nova project in the works at Marvel, which sounds pretty interesting. They have confirmed that. And then we had 2 trailers this week. There is a new Alien movie coming out this August, I believe. They look like they're returning to the horror theme and vibes that made Alien 1 and 2 so great. I'm very excited for that. And then the trailer for Beetlejuice actually dropped. And I don't know if you've seen it. It was just like a quick minute, 15-second teaser trailer with
I
Winona
didn't watch.
Ryder, Jenna Ortega, and of course our boy Michael Keaton is back. And
Oh, and it's got
I'm
Catherine
listening.
O'Hara too.
Yeah, I'm listening.
I bet she'll have a bigger role in this than the last one just because she's so loved now after Schitt's Creek and everything. Like, I feel like
Yes.
she was big in the 90s. You had Beetlejuice, you had Nightmare Before Christmas, you had Home Alone, but I feel like she's more popular today than she was then. But I
Definitely.
mean,
No,
I was a kid then and I'm an adult now, so who knows?
I definitely feel like she's more popular now. I think because the rise of Home Alone and then Schitt's Creek and things like that kind of brought her back. But again, yeah, I was a kid back then. It's hard to say, right?
Yeah. Through our little kid memories.
Well, before we get to X-Men 97, let's talk about Galaxy Con Richmond this past weekend. So first things first, actually, 2 weeks ago we did Galaxy or Awesome Con, where I went up and had a cool day up in DC. It was a very cool. I walked to the White House, did a loop there, walked back up, did a panel on the MCU, which was fun, and overall that was really cool. And then GalaxyCon Richmond recently took place where I met Micah for the very first time in our 4 years hanging out, and that was amazing. Micah and his brother Justin were there. They hung out with us the whole weekend. Real friends right there. Awesome, awesome dudes. And we went to like Triple Crossing Brewing. We walked there Friday night, met up with them. I went down there, picked up our badges. They gave me an extra press badge. Or no, they gave me an extra 3-day I got 2 press badges and a couple 3-day passes because we had panels, which Megan from the Mediaverse, she met up with us and I gave her one of the badges. And then my boy JT, who I've known since middle school, actually came and he brought his camera, his microphones, and he was working like the legit
Dude,
news.
shout out to him, man. That's awesome.
The camera work that he did, and we still have footage to come out. Like he did the panels so far, and like, dude, it's amazing. It's absolutely just his work is amazing. He's such a cool guy. So go check his stuff out, man. Seriously, JT, shout out to you for making this weekend so amazing as well. Friday night was our panel. I randomly hit up Kyle Higgins, was like, hey man, come join us. Comic books you should be reading. And I didn't think anybody was going to show up to this panel, to be honest with you. I was like, do people care still? It was at 8:30 at night on opening day of GalaxyCon. I was like, is anybody going to show up? They did. And lots of people showed up. Actually, it was really cool. We gave away comic books. Kyle talked about his books. We talked about like Ghost Machine and the Schlub and the Ronin. And it was a really good panel. Kyle was absolutely amazing. Such a sweetheart. Really loved getting to hang out with him. And then Saturday, we roamed the floor all day. I talked to wrestler Matt Hardy, kind of about wrestling, talked about Ken and Rich's show, Wrestling Night Live. I did a panel. I saw the Giancarlo Esposito with Katie Sackhoff and Emily Swallow. And oh man, I forget his name. Yeah, they were all there.
Amara. You haven't gotten to Amara yet, have you? Have you met Amara?
No, I haven't. But they did the Mandalorian panel, which is cool. I'm gonna be honest, Giancarlo's. I knew I didn't like her. No,
this but is the way.
I feel like that panel was okay. Like Katie didn't really get a chance to talk. It was mostly Giancarlo who talked, and his answers were all like political sounding. So it was kind of like, all right, this is fine, I guess.
Well, the questions I'm guessing were only Star Wars related because I know last time we saw him, you didn't like that it was mainly Breaking Bad.
Yeah, no, it was all mostly Star Wars. It was about the Mandalorian primarily because Paul, I forget, he's the rebel pilot. He was a part of it.
Oh, okay.
He was there too. So that was cool. And then also right after that one, it goes right into the Clone Wars panel with Matt Lanter, Aaron, Jesus Christ, I forget his name. Matt Lanter, but Ashley Eckstein, and then James Arnold Taylor. It was James Arnold Taylor. Yes. So that was that energy. The energy in that panel was amazing. So fun. Very awesome. And I will say too, like GalaxyCon, man, that line, it was massive. The floor was okay. The vendors weren't very great this year, if I'm being truthful, but I didn't buy anything because there really wasn't any artwork. But I did talk to a lot of really cool creators like Chris Claremont, who said to reach out.
Huge creator.
Well, he said to hit him up on his website and he would be down to come on the show. So I have a vast list of people whose cards I have to hit up, but he was awesome.
Actually, one of the comics I reviewed this week was Knights of Madripoor, Wolverine Knights of Madripoor, that he's writing, and it is a continuation from X-Men 286 in the 90s, which he wrote. And it's like a side story. So like, the comic book with Black Widow's ass staring out over Madripoor and Wolverine's like crouched down.
Yes. He was so cool. Like Micah got a couple books signed by him. He was really cool. And I talked to him. I talked to Georges Gentis, who is working on the current run of Mace Windu. He wants to come on the show. There's a couple Richmond local Marvel artists who are there that want to come on the show that I have. Like I said, I gave out our card a bunch. And then I also got like a ton of cards that I haven't had no time this week to go through. And there was, Rikishi, who's a wrestler. He was there, and he has a comic book out, so we might be talking with him here soon. But it was a really good con, man. Our panel for Batman that night, and shout out to Megan. Megan was such a sweetheart. Megan truthfully like rocked the shit out of those panels. She did such a great job. I was very impressed by her. She fit right in with our group. She was awesome because we met for the first time that weekend, and she like, hey, come on this panel, sure. And she was amazing. Really, really did a great job. We went to Ardent Craft Ales to get lunch that day too, right in the middle of a St. Patrick's Day Shamrock the Block, which is a mistake. It was an absolute mistake. It was awful.
I was gonna say, oh, how
fun. It was cool. We didn't really focus on beers. It was mostly like con, and then the panel was awesome. The panel was full. The panel was so full that people were sitting on the sides of the walls. And go watch the panel on our YouTube because people were so engaged. They were talking, asking questions. Truthfully, man, it was like the coolest panel that I've had a chance we've gotten to do, which gives me hope for the panels that we're going to be doing here hopefully soon at future cons and things like that. So
feel like every panel you learn a little more.
You definitely do. By this point, I feel like a pro, without a doubt.
Yeah. But like that first Disney one I did, man, that was like, so was it more organized than MegaCon?
No, MegaCon was way better, honestly.
No, like, the panels though, like hosting a panel.
I will say when you walk in there, like everything was set up for you. Like they already had an HDMI cord for your laptops, but there was nobody working at any of the rooms to like usher people in or out.
Okay, so it was like MegaCon. Well, I thought MegaCon this year hosting the panel was much more organized than last year because this year there was at least a person outside the door. Whereas last year when I did the Disney one, it was a free fucking for all. Like there was no organization at all. Like anybody could have walked in there. Like this time at MegaCon, they like looked at our badges and let us go in first.
Yeah, well, like I will definitely say like the one thing I didn't like about Galaxy Con is there was no like programming pass. It was like, oh, you're doing a panel, here's a 3-day pass. And I was like, oh, that's kind of lame. And they didn't let you in early at all. But I will definitely say with Galaxy Con, their security was awful. They had like these people who are supposed to be checking badges, but they were so overwhelmed with the crowd that nobody was checking badges. So truthfully, you probably could have gotten in without a badge. It took 2+ hours for people who did not have a badge on Saturday to even get into the venue.
Holy shit.
So the panels were organized. Yes, I think it was on par with MegaCon, but the overall convention was very much not as well organized at all. And I don't want to trash them because I had a really fun time. But I do think they have a lot to learn. There's some things that they definitely can learn about. And hopefully they got better from last year. Like last year, they oversold tickets. This year, they sold less tickets. And I thought that worked out. So maybe next year, there was no metal detectors or things like that we've been seeing at these other conventions. There's no
maybe it's just because it's a smaller area.
I think it was smaller, but still, like you should be checking people when they're coming in. Like they had a table that you're supposed to check your weapons or your cosplaying stuff, but they never did. So it's kind of one of those things. People weren't checking badge. It was like if somebody wanted to do something harmful, they probably could have. Like it kind of felt like in today's climate, it made you feel a little uneasy for that regard.
Right. But, and I mean, and honestly, though, that's a new thing that I think a lot of people are still, because people forget, like before 9/11, I don't think you got your bag searched to go into Disney.
No, like they didn't search bags either, which is interesting. So they have a lot to learn. It's a smaller venue, of course, than MegaCon. It's a lot smaller Comic-Con than MegaCon is anyways. But if I was in charge, I would definitely implement some things if I was king for a day. But overall, they were awesome. I think the workers, the volunteers, they did their best. They did a great job. Everybody who volunteered was really awesome. And the people who showed up to listen to our panels were awesome. So I can't even say much more than that. I thought the guests were great and overall a really good convention.
That's awesome. I wish I could have been there. And honestly, it's probably good I didn't plan to be there because I was dying while you were presenting panels. So
I will say it's the very last weekend of March next year. So around the same time as Meg. Yeah, it's later. MegaCon's a month and a half, almost 2 months earlier than this one is. So
yeah, MegaCon's going to be over the Super Bowl next year, I believe. I don't know.
It is. We'll and Carrie's birthday, but we'll see about
that. That's right. That's right. Carrie's birthday and the Super Bowl.
It's the weekend of February 9th. Her birthday is on the Super Bowl. When the Packers are obviously going to play in it and win the Super Bowl, but you know how it goes, man. Why don't you hit us with a beer review real quick before we go into X-Men 97?
So an update on this beer. It's better than it started. So a lot of times, if you're not super familiar with beer, these darker beers, as they warm, they get better because the flavors actually come out. So it is a little bit sweeter than when we first started out. You get a little bit more of the vanilla now. I always feel so pretentious when I do this, but it's definitely gotten better. And the barrel aged beers are even better with that, with the warming of it. There was
Yeah.
some movie, I forget what it was, but they go like wine tasting, and the guy's like, "There's no wrong answers. What do you smell?" And they're like, "I smell this." And he goes, "Okay, well that's wrong." I forget, it was like a
Listen
bunch
here,
of the S
idiot.
it was a bunch of like the women from SNL, like Amy Poehler and shit, and they just get trashed at the wine tasting. They're supposed to be spitting. I don't know.
Ah.
Anyways,
Well,
but
no,
yeah.
this beer is good. You get a lot more like I feel coffee notes too from it when the more you
Mhm.
kind of it warms up, which is great. Um, it's a good beer. I love their stouts are really great. Burial again, can't say enough about it. So let's let's roll into some X-Men 97, man. The first two episodes are out. The
Okay.
first two episodes of X-Men 97 are out on Disney Plus. You can watch them now. They're about 30 minutes long each. The animation is amazing. A lot of the original voice actors are all back. What were your thoughts about these two episodes? Because I know you're new to the X-Men animated franchise. You just recently watched the original, and now this is your first, both of our first forays into this universe.
Yeah, no, I like these. I thought, yeah, like you mentioned the artwork, I thought it was a good transition to this is clearly newer art, but it's still on par because this show picks up right where the show ends. So I thought they did a great job with that. I like the whole line, like storyline with Jean having the baby and being pregnant, and I love that
Dude,
Wolverine's the
I
one that took her to
didn't
the
expect that at
hospital.
all.
Yeah, so obvious. I mean, are we going to go into spoilers? Because that last 2 seconds, I was like, wait,
Oh,
what?
we're gonna spoil these. We're spoiling. We're talking spoilers. So this is your chance. If you haven't watched, leave, come back. We're gonna talk spoilers. So yes, full on spoilers from here on out. 3, 2, 1. Rock 'em, sock 'em, bop 'em.
So was that like her doppelganger? Like was that Jean Grey from another timeline? Is that the Phoenix Jean Grey? Like that
Oh,
was
she
just
had like
been
this
dormant?
disappointed look.
Yes. And
Oh
like
no.
it was almost like, oh shit, I'm busted. And then like Cyclops is looking at at Nathan, the baby, and being like, what does this mean?
Whoa. So do you think the gene that we had that was pregnant isn't our real gene?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't
Can
either,
there
because
be
that's kind of
two?
the vibe that I got. Well, sure, it's the multiverse. Maybe they switch places or something, or there's
That's what
another
I'm
mutant.
wondering. Is it the multiverse? Is she from another timeline? I don't know. It's not like Highlander, so there can be more than one.
But that how
Even though
messed up. Well, this is good for Wolverine because now he can have a gene.
That's not Sorry, ma'am. I know you're in love more so with Cyclops, but you have to go to Wolvie because he's a spare part.
He
No,
Wolverine
Matt,
walks up. Listen, bub.
they're already having a threesome. It's fine. That baby might even be
Clearly,
Wolverine's. We'll see how tall he grows. If he
but
breaks
I do
like
feel for my boy
which boy?
Wolverine, man. Like this
Oh.
dude, it was great. See the bub and his like grouchiness come back into it. But I still feel for him because he's obviously upset. He was like, "You're upset because Gene's having his baby." He's like, "I'm upset because they're leaving." It's like, nah.
I love him so much. Yeah, and I loved Gambit making the beignets. So that actually came out the same day I found out Magic Kingdom is now selling beignets near where Tiana's Bayou is gonna be. So I love me some beignets.
I do too. And he was in the crop top and everything. I loved his
Which
vibe.
is
His whole energy
so
was amazing.
fucking 90s. My God.
It
And like
is.
people are like, oh, what did they do to Gambit? Same thing they did to every other fucking dude in the 90s that was like
Yeah.
fucking
Have you
I saw
watched
somebody
Encino
did a
Man
oh my yes, Encino Man, and then
with
like
Brendan
Fresh
Fraser? Yeah.
Prince of Bel-Air. I feel like Mark Paul got like that was the workout outfit was a fucking crop top for
It
these
was like a
dudes.
sweat, like a cut off sweatshirt that was a crop top. Like that was the vibe, the move for like dudes in the 90s. And they have like the headbands and everything.
1997 kids. Yeah. Well, okay, the
We're
headbands,
almost to the 2000s.
that is part of the problem though too is like a lot of people like when they think 90s, they think like 1992. We are into 97 now, but it is still the 90s. So we're right at that point where grunge is taking over, but I think they're
Yeah.
just going to continue to put more emphasis on the comic book aspect which was more 80s 90s.
Oh, well, this is like a love letter to Claremont's 80s run for X-Men. Like that's what the original animated was.
Right.
And now this, I thought it was great. I thought like the strongest thing that kind of came out as a surprise to me, not really a surprise if you know comic books, but the whole Professor Xavier's dead. because he's advertised in the opening credits.
He's
So you're like,
never
oh yeah,
actually dead, though. I
okay,
mean,
he's
come on.
clearly coming back at some point, but his will leaves everything to Magneto, and it turns out that Magneto and Rogue were fucking.
I like that. I don't know why I like it.
I mean, I do too. It's kind of a
I
fun,
mean,
like, oh, because
sorry,
if you know
Gambit.
comic books, it's not the first time, but you're like,
Right.
oh. And she's
Well,
like, we
okay,
gotta
come
keep this
on.
a secret, baby.
If that's the only person in the world who you can physically touch without killing
Yeah.
or putting into a coma, fuck yeah, this girl's like, what, a 40-year-old virgin at this point? Let her fuck. And if she's
I
gotta fuck
mean,
Magneto to get off,
she's
come on.
she's not tied down, number one. Number two, yeah, like she can't touch anybody. They're at the club. Like they're at that club, they're vibing. Jubilee's out there having her dance party, shooting off the fireworks, and Rogue's basically, I
She's
can't go
probably
down there.
thinking, "This ain't no Texas." Like, she's just ain't
She
no
was
hold
she was
up.
like, "Yeah, let's do it." And Rogue was like, "If I go down there, everybody's gonna have the worst hangover of their life because I'm basically gonna fuck them all up." And so
Yeah, even
that
when they're playing
was
basketball, she's in full outfit and everybody else is, like, half naked.
yeah. So she can never do anything. And then we moved to Rogue, by the way, was an absolute badass in episode 1. She took out all of those Sentinels by herself, just about. That
Yeah,
was a
I
cool
mean,
moment. I liked that.
she
And
I
Beast, my boy
I
Beast.
I get now why so many people were upset about Rogue in the movies, 'cause, like, my first introduction to the X-Men was the movies, so I didn't know why people were upset about For one, they were like, "Well, Rogue and Wolverine don't have that relationship," which I see that now because they're of equal playing field, they're not of a child-adult relationship. But yeah, to take such a powerful character and just strip everything that makes her a powerful character. They left her with
Yeah,
nothing other than the
they did.
ability to save herself. Well, she was utilized to further Magneto's plans.
Yeah, so episode 2, Magneto's taken over the X-Men, and then he's gone to NATO to basically be like, "Hey, stand trial for your issues." And he's like, "You guys don't believe me? Fine." And this is when
We
the
were like,
executioner.
watch. And Logan goes, "What's the UN?" Like, it's the United Nations. He's like, "Well, what's that?" I was like, "Oh God, just
Real quick,
watch."
before we go into this, I want to shout out like Cyclops' super insanely wicked cool superhero landing where he blasts the beams to the ground and then just like lands down
Yeah.
there. That was cool. That was
That was Logan
Cyclops
asked,
got
he's
some
like, "Can
love.
he fly?" And I'm like, "No, he can't fly." And he's like, "He's flying." I'm like, "No, he's falling with style." He goes, "That looked like flying to me." And I'm like, "It wasn't flying, Logan."
He's falling and then he lands because his beams. And
It's
dude,
falling with
Scott's got
style.
some really cool love in these first 2 episodes. He's the leader of X, like to me, my X-Men. I was like, this man, I'll follow you to death right now. Let's do it.
Yeah, he wasn't douchey about it either. Sometimes
No.
Cyclops can be douchey.
But he was awesome in these first 2 episodes, and then, the
I
executioner
agree.
shows up at the trial and starts laying everybody to waste, and they're fighting this battle, and it turns out that he shoots Storm with the centralized Sentinel weapon, and she loses her powers. And that's a very sad, very, dude, heart-wrenching moment where she's like, "I can't feel the wind," and you're just like, "What?"
Yeah, she can't feel the moisture in the air.
It was sad, dude. It hit. Like, I was like, dang. And then Magneto brings everybody, like, such a badass moment because Magneto's looking like a real daddy already with his long, luscious hair. And he's
I'm
like,
digging the hair.
yeah, he's like, we're going to the sky. And he comes up and he basically tells everybody, like, this is your fault. Don't make me let you down. And you're just like, ooh, oh my
We
good.
get some Michael
Magneto.
Fassbender hair growing out. Can we get one of those? That
I
would be
could see
fun.
that. Yeah,
Because, like, we got, woo, very young Magneto and then older
we did.
Magneto with Ian McKellen. So I'd love, yeah, I feel like with this X-Men one is right smack dab in the middle. So, like, Michael Fassbender,
Agreed.
come on, it's been like what, 15? No, that movie came out in
You could still
2011.
play Magneto easily.
No, exactly, 100%. But that movie came out in 2011, so it's almost 13 years old. It came out in June
Yeah.
2011. So, yeah, let's grow your hair out, dude. Let's go. Come on, we get some gray locks.
I could see that plan. Honestly, though, but like Magneto, where was he wrong though? He was like, "My mutants are persecuted, and we've done nothing but stand side by side with you." Like,
Most
and
of the
this
time,
is your guy.
Magneto is right.
He really is. Honestly, everybody views him as a villain, but it's like you're persecuting
Yeah.
mutants, dude. It's pretty frick messed up. So,
Other than in
he
Phoenix, where he just instantly changed his mind and didn't stand with his grounds
Yeah,
whatsoever.
we don't really, but honestly though, he was the standout character. Him and Cyclops definitely won the day in these first 2 episodes. I'm very interested to see where the series goes. So far, like the adult tones are still very much there. The real world problems are very much there. It's fucking good, dude.
Yeah, I'm very much so looking forward to next week because I just wanna know what the fuck's up with Jean, man.
That too, man. Gene, they just had baby Nathan. The
That was
plot has thickened, like
yeah.
surprising.
That was cool though, what they did too, where, I we don't deliver mutant babies, and I thought that
Oh
that
yeah.
was, like I mean,
She stole
you've
his power, the doctor powers. That was wild.
but also you're going more so to the correlations between racism and
Yes.
how there were people who would go to a white hospital and they would not take them. So it was the same kind of thing, but yeah, with Rogue being able to suck that guy's intelligence and ability to deliver the baby, that was really cool too. And she's like, "I don't want to hurt your baby." And they're like, "We trust you." And then the doctor's like, "You're going to do what?"
Yeah, he was like, "Huh?" And she was like, "Shut up." Wow.
Right.
I know. It was awesome. I thought this was a very, very strong, and you can just tell by everybody out there on social media is loving it. It has 100% rating.
Yeah.
When's the last time that's like we've all collectively agreed on anything in this as a society?
Right. Well, even Ian was texting me about it. He's like, "Oh, I'm really liking this series." And he's very picky about certain things and he really likes this. So,
Awesome. Well, it's amazing. I very much love what they're doing in the series so far. It's such a fun return. The X-Men, do you want to skip intro? No, I don't want to skip the intro. This song slaps. Hell no.
Logan loves seeing the intro because he gets the wolf. And anytime they say Logan, he's like, "Oh, they said my name," every single time. So
It's
it
like,
was spring break this week. So next week I'll probably watch it by myself when he's at school, and then I'll put it on for him when he gets home because he just has too many questions, which I love, but also
but
shut
you
the
can't
fuck
enjoy
up.
the yeah, you can't enjoy the show because you're like, Jesus Christ.
Even
What?
Brielle in Princess Bride, man, she kept talking. I'm like, dude,
You
watch the
both love it
movie.
because like your kids are invested in something for once that you love,
Right.
but you're at the same time, you're like, can you just shut the fuck up so I can watch this movie?
Ugh. She's like, "Is he gonna die? Is he gonna do this? Where's the six-fingered
I don't
man?
know. I guess we'll
What
find
happened
out.
when his dad died?"
I guess we'll see, won't we? Yeah, it's amazing. Go do yourselves a favor and please let us know what you thought about these first 2 episodes. I'm having fun. Lauren's having
Watch
fun.
Bad Batch is going pretty good too.
I haven't
We'll have to
watched any
do a
Bad
wrap
Batch
up when
yet.
that's over.
Well, yeah, we'll
I
do a
haven't
series wrap up.
Ventress has not shown up. Fennec Shan showed up, but not Ventress.
Plot thickens. I haven't watched any bad. I've watched the first episode. Other than that, I haven't had time. I did watch one episode of Supernatural, but just haven't been on that train even. So I gotta get my life together. Things are slowing down. I will
I'm
get
back
back
on
on it.
season 1 of Supernatural.
Well, you'll probably pass me before I finish,
It's
but
probably
we'll
true.
see what
I'm your
happens.
last.
And thanks everybody for hanging out with us today. That was our X-Men 97 recap. If you want more, let us know. And you can always find us Hops Geek News on any podcasting platform and also on any social media platform. Join our Discord, come on and join our Facebook group, join our Twitter fanatics. Just join our Facebook group. That one's like the place where there's a lot of cool things going on. Discord as well. Twitter's dying. Instagram's there. Hang out with us on Instagram if you would like. But overall, you know where to find us. We will be back next week talking some much more fun things, talking about episode 3 and some other stuff. So thanks for hanging out. We will see you next week. Cheers.